in the mess, yeah.
Last week, I talked about a woman on TikTok named Angelica Jessica who exposed her brothers as being obnoxious, red-pilled racists.
They're gonna kill me.
That's racist.
That's not racist.
That is
I know what the
racist.
black guy's gonna do.
That's
Have you seen a
racist.
black guy?
So, therefore, as a white person, if you have a real problem saying the N-word, that's an issue.
It's only an issue when you start telling people what you can or can't say. We live in America.
And in that video, I gave her credit for calling out racism and bigotry in her own family.
There's really a difference, in my opinion, between like racism and prejudice and colorism and like, you know, not everything is just automatically racist. I'll just say that first. But I can also say technically he's right when he says there's a problem with telling someone what they can and can't say. I'll say that because everybody knows being racist is literally just wrong, because sometimes it's followed by hate crimes or like discrimination. You know what I'm saying? And unfair treatment or unfair treatment. So I would say on one hand it's wrong to be prejudiced or racist in my opinion, but you know, I think it's just wrong, but and on the other hand I could say it's wrong to tell somebody what they can and can't say, because it is a free country. Like people can have like opinions or like say what they want to say, unless, you know, it's coming with threats to someone's life or like, what else? Just extremely, extremely hateful contents from their mouth, or like just BS.
It's so messed up, and I called them out for being racist. And one of them was like, yeah, I'm racist and I'm proud to be racist.
But I also expressed my belief that without accountability or real consequences, her calling out her brothers would just turn into another family or ideological disagreement, which would change nothing.
I think what's worse is the fact that, like, I'm related to them. Like, how embarrassing. What's even worse is, like, how much, like, they don't care.
However, Angelica followed up those initial videos exposing her family by actually confronting them and making it clear that if their racism continues, she would end her relationship with them, which will force them to take real accountability or face consequences.
No, Ben, for me, this is like, we either talk about this and there's growth, or I don't have a relationship. That's where I'm at right now.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
I'm really not okay with your guys' like racist remarks.
That's such a joke.
No, first of all, the joke is...
We never do it to
No.
It's always funny to me how people that say and do racist things can still argue that they're not racist. You are what you say and do.
Do I think somebody should run around saying racist things or being prejudiced? No, but if somebody wants to say what they want to say and it's not the most tasteful things, it's not my job or anybody's job to, I guess, correct what someone's saying or how someone thinks. It's really their job to kind of look in the mirror. That's true. Like, you are generally how you think and what you say and do, like, generally. But, you know, sometimes people are trolls. Like, sometimes people make jokes, and sometimes people are, like, for entertainment. So, like, you know, if you see celebrities or rappers and they make certain music or lyrics, or, like, some people, they say really outlandish things for, like, shock value and stuff like that. So it's not, like, everything that someone says for, like, I guess, content creation or just expressing themselves, it's not exactly how they feel or literally what they would do, etc., etc. So yeah, generally you are kind of how you think at the end of the day, or like how you think or see the world, for real. But you're not defined under your political views or what you were taught to believe. Really, honestly, sometimes you can change that for yourself, and then you can change who you are. Like, people have like ego deaths. But yeah, generally, if you say racist things or you just think in a very prejudiced or discriminatory way towards a certain group of people, like whatever race they are, I would automatically assume you're racist, especially if it's just recurrence. Like it's not giving a joke. It's giving like, oh, you really actually think this way, or you actually are this way. You know what I'm saying? And then some people, I think I was about to get into this, some people don't even know that they're being prejudiced or racist. And sometimes people have good intentions with like jokes that they make or things that they kind of say with their friends, like friendly banter or like jokes and stuff like that. Like it's understood that, okay, but at the end of the day, like I'm not actually racist, or like I still love my friends that are not of my race, or like I look at people like people and not like a stereotype, or like I guess some things that you could be saying, right? So I wouldn't just jump to conclusions and say someone's racist because they said something that was a little questionable, or they make a joke, or they kind of think the way that they think. Sometimes people don't mean to be racist or like, you know, prejudice. They just kind of have experiences with certain races or people of a certain race, and maybe something negative happened more than once. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of just pick up patterns of, you know, and then you kind of develop a fear of people just based on your environment or like people that you've been around. You know, it's kind of hard to think differently when what you're seeing in your day-to-day life is kind of the same all the time. And it's kind of hard to find like outliers or like people that kind of challenge your ego, basically, or your regular mundane perspective of the world.
You're racist because you say and do racist things.
The joke is rooted in racism.
This is ridiculous because that's such a lie.
No, Ben, for me, this is like, we either talk about this and there's growth, or I don't have a relationship. That's where I'm at right now.
That was my whole point the first video. That it was good she was calling out her family for being racist, but if you're still around them every day, still going to lunch with them, acting like everything is normal, but every now and then you bring up this issue about them being racist, then there are no consequences for their actions. There are no consequences for their bigotry or racism, and there will be no change. But she just drew a line in the sand saying either this gets addressed, either y'all look in the mirror, take accountability and change, or you're going to lose a relationship with me, which is the type of consequences that have to be in place to force somebody to address their bigotry and racism.
Yeah, but I don't blame people when they kind of develop. I don't hate people, period, but I don't really find it necessary to hate someone that's hateful, right? Or maybe they're unaware of how prejudiced or discriminatory they are, or, you know, maybe how racist they sound or appear, you know, because sometimes people just don't know any better, and that's not, you know, really sometimes all their fault. So I'm not gonna fight fire with fire. I'm gonna probably look at that person and pray that their mind changes, or like look at that person that's being kind of, I wouldn't say negative, just ignorant, right? Because there's a difference between ignorance and arrogance. There's a difference, you know, between racism and they just don't know any better, or like maybe they can change. So it's like ignorance is kind of like when you feel like you kind of already know the most about something, or you kind of believe what you already know to be the fact for life. Like there's no gray area or learning or changing your mind or in between. It's like ignorance would be this person eats chips sometimes, so I know that's all they eat. And it's like, no, that's kind of ignorant to say or think. Or ignorance would be, oh, white people have hurt black people in history or in the past, so all of them are evil and racist. That's kind of ignorance. Racism would be like going along the lines of supremacy, like when you feel like your nationality or your race or a certain race is superior to another race for ignorant reasons, like if it's based on prejudice or color, or like just stereotypes or dumb shit that, you know, you gotta outgrow like at a certain point in life.
I take that very seriously. I told parents that they might disagree with me, but for me,
You make such problems.
it's not a problem, Ben. I'm not the person walking around calling everyone by the N-word. That's in your vocabulary as a white man.
Okay. And by my
He said, okay. They immediately started to gaslight her. She called them out for being racist and saying the N-word, and they said, why are you making all these problems?
spirit, I'm a black man. How?
That's not funny.
I'm a homie in my spirit.
That's not cool.
It is cool.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it is. And the story.
No, it's because it was.
I marry a black chick.
That's not helping the situation either. Like,
Y'all are listening, but like.
And being accused of being a racist, their response is to say more racist things. He's black on the inside, so he can say the N-word, or he's gonna marry a black woman to get a pass. This is literally how they think.
So, how somebody feels, you know what I'm saying, about themselves versus how they look is really up to that person. I guess he wants to feel like he's black because maybe the white people around him kind of all act the same and they're kind of just like, you know, they're stereotypes. It's like sometimes, you know, there's jokes like, oh, somebody is like an Oreo if they're black and they act white because most of the black people around them kind of act a certain way or listen to certain things or do certain things and dress a certain way, etc., etc. And then, you know what I'm saying? It ain't got nothing to do with race. Or like racism. It's just like a fucking joke, to be honest. Or sometimes people really look at that person like they want to be another race or something just absolutely ignorant. But that's outside of the fucking point. And just somebody dating outside their race, it's just seen as self-hatred and BS and more ignorant BS, or like they hate themselves and all this nonsense. I feel like, yeah, like if you feel how you feel about yourself, you know, and you feel how you feel about the world, right? Like black people are not the only people that have souls, or like, you know, some people believe that black people were the first people on earth, and some people are super religious and they put a race to Jesus or God, whether it's white or black. And then outside of who Jesus is painted as for the majority of the time and what he looks like, or what the text says, like his hair was wool and his skin was copper, and all this back and forth about who Jesus really is, it's like, in my opinion, and I don't like to get into religion, I literally don't even like to get into race topics, but I just feel like I just have something to say. Regardless of who or what Jesus really is, I think people just read too literally into like the picture of Jesus, or like externalizing Jesus. And I feel like, in my opinion, it shouldn't be that way. I think people should actually read between the lines in those types of religious texts or like religious contexts and stuff. You know, I just feel like if you really actually read anything, you just realize that it had nothing to do with race or color or anything. It's it's really like a concept, right? Like a human clearly wrote the Bible. It's translated in many languages. It's a scripture, basically. Like in simpler terms, that just, to me, is just like a message. Like the book has what someone wrote from messages that they received from like the ethers. Like they felt like they received that information and they could share it with the world because it was like helpful, useful shit, basically, right? I'm just gonna keep it super, super simple because I think people put too much emphasis on the color or like externalizing God and Jesus, and that's not the point. It's really, there's lessons in the Bible, there's like lessons in different religious texts, there's things that you read and it applies to life, because that's a lot of the stories and the things that you can learn from the Bible are things that happen in real life. You know what I'm saying? And basically whatever you tell yourself or whatever you learn, you should be really careful what you teach yourself or like take so literally or like believe or or choose to believe, because there's honestly a lot of dumb shit that I see about different races. Like, some people feel like white people are like mutants, or some people feel like black people are subhuman, and some people just feel like black people are superior. Some people feel like white people are superior. Some people feel like this and that is superior, and this and that is this and that and that and this. It's like, all that shit is a programming from whatever the you learned, or whatever the you read, and whatever you saw either on the internet or took from the religious texts that are available to people. And that's just my opinion, right? Just in shorter terms, I just feel like people should apply the words differently to life and not make it justification for like a never-ending war between people. Because really the principality of a lot of religions is to be generous and like humanitarian, right? Like love thy neighbor, love everyone, accept people. And then there's some versions of like religious texts, or maybe like third-party versions and shit, or different versions where it's like they kind of lean in towards the lower vibrational spectrum, and it's like it started being a little toxic in my opinion. And then it allows certain punishments and certain ways to go about what you believe is right and wrong, and how you should treat someone, and what's right and wrong. And it's really up to you at the end of the day, like what you want to live your life like or think like. And just the simplest way I could say it. So having that in mind, telling yourself, oh, you're black on the inside, I think really he means he feels like he resonates more with the black people that he's met in his life, whether they act black or act like an Oreo or not. He's just using black people as a mirror. Like, he feels like he resonates with whatever black people he's met in his life. And that can go for any other race, basically. Like, sometimes some people feel like they get along more with a certain type of person, a certain race, and that don't mean they don't like their own, or like they favor themselves or the other race or this or that. It just means that's just their experience, and that's just how they think and feel. So I just feel like it was weird to say that, because you should just feel like yourself. Like, if you feel like you, and you just so happen to get along with black people, or like you just so happen to come across or come off as like black outside of his simpler intention of what he said, probably just as a joke, right? Like, oh, he feels black. I think he really just means like he just doesn't feel like a standard white person. But he doesn't realize what he's saying does sound ignorant, or can come off ignorant, because there's no way to be black or white or whatever the fuck else. It's like, it's just, he's not understanding like the micro aggressions in some of the shit that he's saying, and that he feels like is not the most heinous things to say, but it's like it kind of gives like a reason to look at you like, how do you think? Yeah, but from my understanding and just my opinion, or from my view, for real, I just feel like in history, right, or just in general, bruh, I feel like Africa is like is a great resourceful continent or land for the world. So it kind of always been that way, and it still is. It's a very golden land, in my opinion. But hold on, with that being said, I feel like a lot of non-African people knew that, and then some of the not so great non-African people took advantage of that in the past, or like, you know, I don't know the whole 9 yards about this and that and the third, but all I know is we know what the fuck happened. So basically, I think the Jesus thing and the construct of Jesus is probably derived off of humanity, or like the fruitful parts of humanity, which is basically like, in my opinion, I feel like a lot of it was based on I wouldn't say Africa, just people that were very, very fruitful and soulful and full of life and like very intelligent, God-willing people, you know what I'm saying? Or just like very, very strong, foundational people.
The overt racism in 2026 is just crazy. And these are young people. This is Gen Z right here.
Like,
Respect.
no,
I know what you mean.
to me,
You weren't traumatizing you in any way.
no, I am traumatized because
No, you're playing a victim.
No,
You did
I'm not.
abuse you whatsoever.
how you talk about other people, there has to be equality to that.
I do have equality.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Throwing the N-word around as a white person, do you know what the N-word even represents?
Hold up. My N-word is calling, bro.
He walks away.
Yo,
He said, hold up, my N-word is calling me. Is that what he said?
That's crazy. For me, I already had a lot of conversations with parents about this. What happened the other day is not funny. And the issue is, this isn't new in our family. The remarks and, mom and dad, we talked about this, and whether there's agreements or disagreements with that, being raised the way parents were to look at black people and use the N-word isn't normal. It was normal for them, but it shouldn't be normal.
So we get more layers to this case. So the brothers aren't racist in isolation. They didn't go online and form their racist opinions. They got it from their parents, who are racist, who she just said would look at black people and call them the N-word or say the N-word. So in this case, the apple definitely didn't fall too far from the tree. And maybe she's just the black sheep due to experiences, friends, and she's calling out her whole entire family. But her whole family is racist, not just the brothers. She just needs to go ahead and call it a day.
To make jokes about that, I don't care if I'm white and you feel comfortable with me as a sister. I feel very uncomfortable by that. No, Mom, now that's a victim card because I'm calling you higher. And the thing that's crazy is Jesus was not a white person, and I believe it would be the very people like you guys to actually stone him and put him on the cross. You're apparently spirit-filled and saved, so
I would, this is not that because I would have stoned Jesus.
it was actually.
What stoned Jesus was character, personality, and his way of teaching.
Religious people that are racist is crazy to me. That's the problem with these white Christian nationalists. They will use the Bible, the church, and religion to justify their bigotry and racism. And she's calling her family out on being racist, saying Jesus would be against them for how they treat and talk about people. And he's going to turn it back around on her. At this point, she's in a 1v10.
No, you just can't be racist, period. Like,
How do I know I'm racist to white people?
I don't know. That's not my conversation right now. Because
So he's changing what racism means now. He's now talking about being racist against your own skin color or white people being racist against white people, when that's not what she's talking about. That's not what she's discussing at all. She's literally talking about white people being racist to black people. So it's like a weird denial gaslighting vortex at this point.
Like I was saying, I feel like there's a difference between ignorance and racism. Like, firstly, I could say, I don't think the dude is actually racist. Like, I don't think he thinks he's superior to, like, black people. I think he just grew up thinking a way about himself or white people and black people, because he does kind of mention whatever they just said, right? Like, white people against white people and black people and white this and that. Whatever the fuck he said, because I don't really know what he said. All I know is there's a difference between racism and ignorance. So her coming to her family about the concerns of racist, or what she feels is racist remarks, or just purely ignorance, and him rebuttaling with something that's outside of the point, or just reasons why he feels like what he's saying is not racist. It's like he has a very narrow perspective or understanding of how what he says or how he thinks would make him look or would make black people feel. So a lot of black people live in fear towards white people for very valid reasons, bro. Like, there's a lot of white people that still to this day think the way that white people thought in the 1940s, and there's also like hella white people that don't. Her automatically jumping to calling them racist, and because she feels so empathetic towards, you know, how something that they're saying would make black people feel, or how it would make her look, being attached to people that's saying ignorant things, that's coming off a little emotionally charged and accusatory, because she is kind of jumping to conclusions saying, oh, you're racist if you just use the N-word now, like, or you just say it. And to be honest, I think if you use it in a contextual way, like if you use the word to educate yourself or to educate people, just straight up, like just saying the word not towards someone, or you're reading it, you know, in your head, or you're reading it out loud or whatever, I don't think that necessarily makes someone racist, but I think obviously using it against a black person would create this feeling of how seriously or how heavily are you using that word, or like how far would you take that word, because that word in the past has been used to degrade black people and has been used as like a power dynamic towards black people. So a lot of black people ended up using the word just to kind of take away the power dynamic, or like this feeling that, oh, calling me that makes me feel less than you, or makes me feel like I'm less than the person I am. So I don't think using the word, granted I wouldn't really use it if I was white, but I think using the word, if you grew up in certain areas and you have black friends and they let you say it, I don't think it necessarily makes you racist, but I think he should understand that using the word can instill concern or fear in people, not just black people, but white people that would look at him like, oh, are you one of them ones that ruin it for the good ones? Like, or you are like, you know, it's like using that word as a white person would just be questionable, because you know what that word means, and like, especially the hard R version, but you know what that word really means, and it's like, I don't think it's so necessary to use the word in any form, or to call someone that, or look at someone like that, or use the word. It's not that important to me, and I feel like it shouldn't really be used by anyone, but especially white people, because you just don't know like how racist they are, how racist they can get.
This poor girl.
Right now, I know you're being racist towards black people. See, I'm sorry, Dad. I told you this, and I don't know if you believe me. No, but did you just hear what he said? I want to be racist towards white people? No, that's what he said. But at dinner, he said that I'm racist and I'm proud to be racist. That's what you said to me at dinner. Did you not say that?
Everybody is proud of their race.
Stop, don't twist that. You little snake. Elijah, we were talking, you're a snake. Do you know why? Because in that conversation, you asked the question, if there's a black person and a white person, which one would you shoot? You asked that. And after that...
That was in the original video.
They're gonna kill me.
That's racist.
That's not racist. I know what the black guy's gonna do. Have you seen a black guy shoot?
So therefore, that's why I say you're a narcissist.
You have slaves. Doesn't make you a narcissist.
It does. It's controlling. It's manipulative. If someone's saying,
I think you're a complete victim. You have this victim mentality. They make up like a third of our population.
see, only a narcissist would say that. As a white person, if you have no problem saying the N-word, that's an issue.
It's only an issue when you start telling people what you can or can't say. We live in America.
Him saying that black people only make up a third of the population is concerning, because a lot of black people have been like mass murdered or taken advantage of. And maybe he didn't mean ill will by what he was saying, but there's definitely a reason why there's only a third of the population that consists of black people, and like there's a reason why there's not so many Jews, and there's a reason why there's not so many Native Americans living on the planet. Now, maybe he's not necessarily someone that would carry out hateful crimes or like BS against people that are black or just not white or Caucasian, but him saying those things kind of just points towards like you don't have any contrition towards maybe why or how, like I said, what you're saying would make someone feel. It makes it sound like he does feel superior to black people, or like if the population of a specific group that he's saying something not so nice about, it just so happens that it's less. He believes, assumingly, that it's less important to speak of them respectfully or think of them respectfully still as just as important as white people, right? Because there's hella animals on the planet that are going extinct, and you know, there's laws against going fishing for certain creatures, or like smuggling, or like breeding, or doing this or that or third, because that's just kind of like supposed to help those species kind of stay alive or stay relevant, or help the ecosystem stay balanced. So him saying like, oh, they only make up a third of the population implies that he feels like something that he says that's kind of not the most mature or like the most inclusive shouldn't matter, because apparently there's power in numbers versus power in power, or like source, like God, like, you know what I'm saying? He just feels like, well, I could just say what I'm saying because they're not that important anyway. There's not that many of them anyway. That doesn't really come off all that nice. And I wouldn't say it's racist, but it comes off like super strange. Like anything that you say that's just not so nice, even if it affects just one person or how someone feels that day, or you that's your intention or not. It's like anything that you say, if it has some form of effect on someone, already you're like not it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just not a very nice human trait to have, kind of feeling like anything is less important just because you don't see the importance in it, or you don't see the effects of it, right? Like if it's not affecting you, it's not that important. And it's like everyone and everything has very equal importance on this planet, right? I mean, obviously you would save a human over a fucking ant, but it's the principle. It's like everyone and everything has a purpose, or like a reason for being on Earth, and how they feel equally matters. That goes for white or black or Latino or fucking Asian or fucking whatever else.
Person whose roots were built on building muscle, physically working.
Are you kidding
they were
me?
slaves, but they physically work. Their genetics are a lot more physically fit.
My God.
Obviously, the black person, because he can take me out. Statistically speaking, we're stronger.
They're using the same talking points that slave owners and racists used hundreds of years ago, that because black people are big and strong, we don't feel pain, we're not human, which they then use to justify a bunch of atrocities against black people.
After that, you followed that with, I'm racist and I'm proud to be racist.
I'm from Russian American.
Stop, you're twisting that. That's not what you meant. You're now trying. And so to me, again, these are just like.
And then I'll be proud of being American racist, superior against other races, in my opinion. Because as Americans, we're the best.
No, Elijah, we are not. How America is, if you are proud to be racist,
I'm so confused.
if you can't acknowledge how you talk about people being wrong, then I can't have a relationship with you.
So yeah, that was very prejudiced of him to say that black people are just stronger and can withstand more pain, because that's just a person to person thing. Like, people have different pain tolerances. People feel pain, people feel feelings, people feel emotions. So maybe he's around black people that are a little strong and a little tough, and they have thick skin for whatever reason under the fucking sun, right? Whether they had to develop that through discrimination and prejudice or racism, or whether they just grew up like that because of their household and they developed a high pain tolerance or whatever else. That has nothing to do with a race. So him saying black people are just stronger and we can attack them with like groups of people if it's just less black people, because apparently he assumes that black people are just automatically able to withstand gruesome atrocities, like the dude said, just because they're black, or like, you know, if you see them kind of animalistic, just for dumb reasons and not for the reasons of, well, they've been kind of treated like lab rats, like lab animals, like they've been treated like they've had to develop a lot of thick skin or like endurance towards a lot of mental, verbal, or physical BS. That doesn't mean they can withstand it naturally. It just means that just so happened to trickle down throughout history. And you know, trauma does stay within bloodlines and people's bodies and stuff like that. So that doesn't mean that they just naturally were always angry or naturally always strong. Like, people train to be strong, people train to be kind, people train to be fucked up. And when I say train, they just go over the way they think, the things they experience, and people build themselves how they want to build themselves, like brick by brick. Now, you know what I'm saying? If somebody's pinching you, you can feel it and it may not hurt, but that just depends on how your brain perceives the pinch. It's like, to someone that's not experienced so much pain before, anyone, a pinch wouldn't hurt. But if you pinch a baby, or you pinch someone, if you pinch someone that has endured a lot of pain, that's not gonna mean much. That doesn't mean that those two people inherently that doesn't mean those two different people inherently process the pinch differently. I think their brain processes it the same, but it just is felt differently. Like,
talk about being wrong.
Elijah, you're demeaning an entire group of people. And of course it doesn't affect you because you're white.
What we're seeing right now is a visualization of arguing with somebody on Twitter. You can be right, you can have a point, you can have all the facts to back you up, and they will just twist and turn any argument, any facts, any points, until it just devolves into an argument about nothing. This is crazy to actually see.
And mom's praying in tongues in the corner. Like, that's gonna do anything in this situation. It's not.
Praying in tongues? Instead of just calling out the people in your family for being racist. Well, she's racist too, so she's probably being racist while praying in tongues.
Because praying in tongues isn't gonna fix racism.
Yeah, I think the real issue, not even just about race, but arguments in general, is that people, they just want to be right. Right? So let's say if you're arguing with someone, that's like just honestly probably emotionally charged. Like, both of you have your view and it's not budging. Like, there's no middle ground. And a debate would be more of a professional type of way for you to get out how you feel and let the other party get out how they feel. And then you come to a compromise or an understanding, right? So I feel like her argument against her family, or her brother in particular, is a very emotionally charged argument. And maybe he's not exhibiting very highly emotional behavior, but he's coming from his own standpoint or his own view. So in his mind, he's not racist because maybe he doesn't feel superior to, or feel like he would carry out hateful things, God forbid. But he's not grasping or understanding how things that he says or ways that he thinks can appear or come off as ignorance or prejudice and stuff like that. So he's kind of fixed on the fact that he knows he's not racist, but he's not correcting how he talks and how he thinks and how that would come off. And he doesn't empathize with black people that are nothing like how he assumes, or black people that probably just have fear against white people, using those types of statements like the N-word or saying prejudiced things. And in her view is very emotionally charged because she's just honestly empathizing too much with black people, and she's making her family feel like there's an ultimatum that's like, if you just, she's just flat out calling them racist, which I don't think is necessarily the right way to go about the argument, because if you're really trying to get your point across, you should try to maybe not flat out call someone something that they're probably not. You should just express to them why how they act or what they do can come off that way, or like explain it in a way that doesn't trigger them to rebuttal with justification as to why they're not racist. You should explain to them why they could seem that way. So that way you're not just going back and forth about who's right and who's wrong. It would just be like, oh, I understand why you think I'm racist, or I can understand why you think you're not. But like, instead of just kind of feeling like, oh no, you're all the way wrong, is not going to go through to somebody that's ignorant. They're just not going to get it. They're just going to keep telling you they're not racist, because more likely than not, they're probably not. But part of the other side of what they're saying, how they're thinking, is not so right. So it's just like the way you go about something. It's like, she's not wrong for feeling empathetic towards black people, but she's wrong by just calling them racist, because he doesn't think he's racist. He doesn't think he thinks racism is just the most gruesome, heinous things that you could say or feel towards people that are not of his race. And then she feels like any microaggression or anything that you're saying that's just coming off prejudice or racist is just wrong, because you should know better than to even be acting that way. I don't want you to be racist. Like, I don't want to have to second guess like your intentions or your feelings towards or about people. So I think if she just changes her approach and her verdict, and if they just change their fixed mentality and feeling like, well, what I can say is fine because it doesn't matter that much anyway, it's just words. It's just words. Sticks and stones might break bones, but words will never hurt me. It's like they're not understanding how that's just super opposite spectrums, and like just kind of just going nowhere for real.
No, don't tell me to calm down, Dad. No, I abused you. Oh my God. No, Dad, we never fixed our conversation. We never did. No, actually, it's not enough, because I don't believe you.
Did you hear that?
Dad, you said you love all people too.
Joe, I want every race to succeed and prosper.
You guys are like twisting it now.
So yeah, there's this idea that if you just tell yourself you're not racist, or you know you wouldn't hurt anyone like physically or go out of your way to be racist, you just know that you're not, and you can just say ignorant things or think ignorantly about people or be prejudiced towards people, because you know at the end of the day you're not gonna ever hurt anyone, and then deep down you can really love people and all, but that doesn't mean you like everyone. right? It's okay to love and not like, or it's okay to have your opinions, right? As long as you literally don't hurt people off of your damn opinion. But that's a problem in my opinion, because like I said, it's like there's different spectrums to things. There's mild racism and then there's heinous ass racism. Like if you just say something like, let's say you're a white person and you're getting an interview against a black person, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get the job because I'm white. That doesn't mean you're racist or the most racist. It just means you're very prejudiced, and you just assume that you're gonna get the job just because you're white, or just because you feel like you have assets or qualities that you feel would outshine a black person, just simply off of your race, or simply off of how people view black people, or other, whatever the case may be. So them type of people that say they don't see color and they mean well by what they say, and the all lives matter thing. I do believe that all lives matter, but there has to be like an emphasis on black lives, because that was created to prevent racism. That was created to prevent people from carrying out really nasty, negative things towards black people just because they're black. And the fact that that has to be reiterated in the first place is a very telltale sign that you shouldn't not see color. You should see that somebody's white, somebody's black, somebody's brown, somebody's whatever they are. You should be able to see that and accept what they are. And yeah, like I said, they probably mean well, but trying to erase the underlying issues by saying, oh, you don't see color, is going to kind of brush under the rug the real issues. It's like, it's nothing wrong with being black or being white or being whatever you are and then seeing the fucking color of someone. The problem is just trying to brush under the rug what the issues in life are. Like, I kind of believe all lives matter, right? But I would wear a Black Lives Matter shirt before I wear an All Lives Matter shirt. Like, I will tell myself, yeah, all lives matter, because even if you're racist, whatever color you are, because you need Jesus. I would emphasize, like, but Black Lives Matter, because let's say we were all driving on the road without lanes and without traffic lights. And then people start getting into crashes and stuff because there's no reiteration of like road etiquette or rules on the road. So guess who created traffic lights and lanes so that people don't get hurt? They didn't just make that shit up just to annoy people and keep people at red lights. No, they made that shit so that people can be safe and understand, right? So I feel like whenever people argue against Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter, just to kind of shut black people up, obviously that's not the move. Like, that's not the move. Like, yes, obviously all lives matter, but a lot of people don't feel that way, and there has to be a reiteration of what the fuck can matter too, because it's kind of, all lives matter is kind of like a band-aid. Like, it's kind of like, oh, we don't need to follow the red light. Oh, it's fine. Like, we don't need lanes. We could just cross lanes. Like, we can just, who made this shit? Like, no shit. People need to stop sometimes when they see somebody crossing the road. No shit. But some people don't give a fuck. Some people will keep driving. Some people will get on the road drunk. Some people will do shit because they can. And shit is in place for a reason. Like, it doesn't just come out of people's ass. Like, or just to be annoying, or just to be mad, or just to be, like angry, or hate everybody else, like, or hate fucking, telling yourself that you love all people is fine. And then it's okay to feel like in some areas in life you don't like certain things. But should you attach it to a race? Or like, let's say you see someone sagging, or you see people outside the gas station being rowdy and playing really loud rap music, or music that's not country, or fucking, let's say geared towards assumably white people. I'm not gonna say country because a lot of black people like country, but I'm saying, let's just say music that typically white people listen to. Let's say someone's kind of acting black. So like, let's say you don't like that and you say, oh God, those people are always doing that. Those people, you know how they are. It's just like, but at the end of the day, you say, no, I love all people, but you say shit like that. It's kind of like a red flag. Or if you see like, I've seen a lot of like body cam videos and stuff and comments and things like that, where if the suspect or someone that's basically highlighted in the video and doing something not so good is black or Hispanic or whatever else, you know, there's comments of racist white people saying, yeah, that's the animals that they are, that's the people they are. And it's like, you have no idea what their life is like. You don't know a day in their shoes. You don't know the type of ways they have to come up with getting out of the environments they're in or the households that they're in, because systemically they probably grew up with a really tough upbringing and real addicts around them and real trouble, like I said, from trauma that trickled down from just history and just people being people, right? Not people live their life based on what they've been through, to be honest. So if you're lucky enough to have had a really great, sheltered, normal life, and you just so happen to be white, and you were judging people of color because their life is not so good on paper, and you have no empathy or understanding of why that could be, you're just blaming it on them being their race, that would point towards you're the biggest part of the problem, and you don't understand like what it's like to kind of have to work with what you have, or kind of do what you feel like you have to do to get to a point where you can live and be and feel like how you should feel. Like, people are not born trying to be robbers and killers, you know, or in gangs and stuff like that. And I don't think that's just always a choice. Like, it's not always like what you assume, you know what I'm saying? Some people, people have choices and they can choose to do or go down certain routes, but sometimes people don't have a choice because a lot of the job economy right now is ass, and it's a huge, high competitive thing, right? And so a lot of people judge people off of where they're from or how much money they already make, or like their skin color or their name or their the way they speak, the way they look, the way they dress, yada yada. So it's like a lot of black people are left with like not much because a lot of the world sees them as fuck ups, or like they don't want to do any better, or like just shit like that. It's like you'll see comments that are going, oh, that's just how they are, and it's like, well, no shit, that's how the shit ends up when they don't have shit else. But a lot of people don't have that view or that type of brain. They just feel like, you know, it's not affecting them. It's not their problem. So just assume the worst about someone or think the worst way about someone, right? And their choices are just expected if it's not so great. And it's like, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. And people should have way more understanding of why people are the way they are. Like, even if you're a middle class person, white, black, or whatever, I can understand why people sometimes work so hard to get to that point and think the way they think about who they want to think about, because it's a rat race. This is the type of country where it's like you're gonna get judged off of like your house, your car, your company, your friends, your fucking job, your clothes, this and that and the third, what you like, what you don't like, what you listen to, what you eat, yada yada, and stuff like that. That's just naturally how people are, and it could change, but I think that's just the game of life. It's just like you just be yourself or go where you're welcome, or like you kind of like get it and do what you gotta do. Like, am I saying people should do bad things just to get ahead? No, but that's not just people of lower class or just black people. That just so happens to be like anyone, right? And they just make it look like, you know what I'm saying? Some people just make it look like they're these great, kind-hearted, or like good-willed people, and they're just wearing, you know what I'm saying, suits, or they're just, you know, doing the same shit that lower class people do, but because they look a certain way and they act a certain way, it's kind of looked over or brushed over. And then those are the same people that will judge lower class individuals for doing what they gotta do to get by. So I'm not saying anybody's wrong for thinking how they think or doing what they gotta do, but I mean, yeah, like there's a threshold with judgment, or like being a hypocrite, or being too kind or too fucked up.
You're twisting it now.
Before God, I want everybody to succeed. I want the best for everybody.
No.
Angela, if I could choose for someone to have if there's 50 black people and 2 white people, then I have a choice. Who lives and I want everybody to live.
No offense. Where was that 2 days ago, Elijah?
Because it wasn't a joke in demeanor.
No, then that's messed up. You can't joke. I don't know where you got. I don't know. You asked the questions.
Everybody, Angela.
No, you can't.
If I meet a black person,
oh my
God, a black person to be more prosperous than me.
I don't believe you.
Better health than me. I want him to be better at everything that's gonna do.
So now they went from being racist, telling racist jokes at lunch, being racist earlier in this conversation, to now basically saying, I don't see color. I want everybody to do good. If that's the case, then you wouldn't demean people or talk bad about people or just label everybody black the N-word when you see them, as her parents did and her brothers do.
If somebody can have better than me, that's a blessing.
To be honest, with these conversations, I don't believe you, because you're not taking any accountability. You're just saying it was a joke. It was a joke. You're not even acknowledging. Dang.
Because there was a specific scenario.
There was
a
this is a
specific controlled environment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like if you feel like, oh, everyone matters and you should view everybody equally, if you feel like that, you should just be that way then. Don't make too many jokes about people that you don't actually really understand, or you just judge too quickly. You know, like, yeah, there's jokes. Like, you can make jokes. But the fact that she's coming to them with this concern, and her family grew up using the N-word, and she has to literally ask them to stop saying certain things. It's telling that, you know, it's not funny, or like, it's kind of concerning how often they probably make those types of jokes or say those types of ignorant things or prejudice things, or like, you know, she has to now say something like the Black Lives Matter thing. Like, somebody had to make that a movement, because apparently a hell of people just was acting like Black lives didn't matter. So he's acting like what he's saying doesn't matter, or how he could affect people doesn't matter. And now she's saying something and he's just dismissive and putting it down because it shouldn't matter that much. I was just joking. It's just a joke. And outside of race, something should not be that funny to where if something that you're doing or saying towards someone is clearly affecting them, or how they live their life, or how they feel about themselves, or just even if you don't say it directly or do something directly to someone that's distasteful or prejudiced or discriminatory or racist, even if you're not saying that directly, it's felt. And so it shows up in real life. It shows up in representation on TV. It shows up in representation at jobs. It shows up in the job market. It shows up in your day-to-day interactions with people. It shows up in microaggressions. It shows up, it adds up. And then it becomes normalized to kind of be nasty or negative, and then brush it off as a joke. And then have nothing to do with race. That's just, some people are friends with people and they make these really derogatory jokes, or they make these types of jokes that put their friends down, or like, they, you know, when people say, girl, your hair is a mess, and they kind of bring it up often. They say, why don't you get your hair done? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you get a man? Or why don't you do that? Or like dudes would be like, bro, your car is fucked up. Or like, your shit, you never be wearing nothing good. Or like, you ain't got no hoes. That type of shit. And it's just a joke. And it's like, they kind of mention it too much. And it's like, you're kind of treated like somebody is like junior, or like you're kind of treated like you're too sensitive for, honestly, abuse sometimes. Like, some people will pick on you often and it make you feel like it's not a joke anymore, like it's not funny, or someone threatening you, or playing with you too much, or like doing something that you don't like too much. It's like, there's a point where if I have to say something now about it, it's a little too often. And that doesn't mean someone's too sensitive. It means they're just picking up on the BS. Like, how funny can something really be? Like, at that point, I'd rather laugh at fucking Sesame Street.
I answered this question, separate gender.
No.
I could relate
You asked
on a specific opposing fire that if two people break into my house and I have to kill one of them, and I'm gonna choose the person who's built stronger, no duh.
No, you said you're gonna choose the black person.
Because of
Yeah, I just did. I'm sorry. Like, you're asking.
They're changing the context of the argument. They basically said if there was two people in front of them, a white person and a black person, which one would they shoot? And they said the black person. Now in this conversation afterward, the follow-up conversation days later, oh, I just meant the person that's more physically intimidating. That's not what they meant at all.
Dad, in the nicest way, you're asking for equalness. I will never want to understand his perspective.
Not all black people are big and strong. Like, nigga, I'm black. I'm pretty skinny, okay? I mean, I'm not like weak AF, but there's black men that are not all that tall. There's black people that are not all big and strong and thick skinned. There's black people that are soft-minded and soft people. There's black people that are quiet. There's black people that are shy. They're not all just loud and outside and arrogant and just, dare I say, ghetto. It's not all black people are just like tough and like angry and like full of like some chemical X like they're making up in their head. It's just like, there's a lot of white people that are huge and like strong and shit, and or just manipulative for real. And then there's white people that are not. Like, I'm just saying, I never understood like assuming that a black person just can handle more negativity because I guess you attach blackness or darkness to spiritual darkness, you know what I'm saying? Or like this underlying darkness. It's like a lot of black people are full of like light and love. I think the script was really flipped at some point and people just feel like it's okay to think just because someone's black, they're bad. And just because someone's appearing white, they're just pure and sweet and innocent. And that's not always the case. Like, that's just not always the case. It's not supposed to be that way. People are supposed to have eyes beyond their fucking human sight.
Go different though. If I could die for 1 million black people to come and make it to heaven, I would die for you.
I don't, to be honest, after the last couple of days, I don't believe you.
If my health was fine, my friends are going to missions to Africa in 2 weeks. I was like, man, I wish I can go.
No, he's bringing God into this. This has nothing,
Missions in God.
because you,
Doing missionary work in another country or even in black neighborhoods doesn't make somebody less racist. You can pray for a different culture or race and still be racist and bigoted against them. Doing one doesn't cancel out the other.
Two things can be true at once. You know what I'm saying? Just because you go to church, this have nothing to do with race. Just because you go to church don't mean you actually believe in God. And I always had this not so great feeling about telling someone to be God fearing, because yes, believing in God is great. I believe in God. I love Jesus, everything like that. But I would never teach my kids or my family to be God fearing. It's kind of like contradicting the point of God. It's like, in my opinion, why would I want to fear someone that loves me? That's kind of like teaching someone that love is fear, or like, like teaching someone that to love someone or respect someone, you have to fear them instead of respect and appreciate and acknowledge. Like, to keep it simpler, that's kind of like a parent making their child feel like they should fear them instead of love them. Like, yeah, you should use disciplinary actions against your children, or, God will come down and smack the shit out of people if God feels like, like in a metaphorical sense, you know what I'm saying? God will smack the shit out of people if God feels like you're not doing something of your purpose, or like your like for the good of people or for yourself, or you know what I'm saying? Not to be totally self-serving, but I'm saying, like, to be God-fearing doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why would I fear someone who loves me or I should love? It's like, I would rather love God and trust God and not feel like God would hurt me if I do something that's not so godly, or like, like we're all sinners. That's not to say run around making excuses for every bad thing you do or say, because God will forgive you. That's like, God will forgive everything and is empathetic and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean be a piece of shit or do bad things often, or to the point where like, if God's telling you to do something or not do something, you should listen to that voice in your heart, or that feeling, like that whisper from God, right? Like, a lot of people know what they should and shouldn't do, right? That have nothing to do with the Bible or other people. It's just like a conscience thing. Like, you should have a good, clear, or even or neutral conscience. Like, you should know if you're doing the right things most of the time, God will provide. And if you're being judgmental or bad or doing bad things, you should know that there would be consequences for that. And then, people's intentions matter the most, right? Like, not just an act on paper or like an act that is perceived as bad. I think if you have good intentions in your heart, like, that's all really that matters. Now, would I say you can get away with any and everything just because you love and believe in God? No. But I also don't feel like people should judge people because maybe they don't believe what they believe in, or they don't do the things that they do to exhibit their beliefs, or like display their beliefs. People display their beliefs differently and go about their beliefs differently, where I feel like there's really a good source and a bad source in life. And you can believe in whatever God you want to believe in, or whoever you want to call God, or whatever you want to call God. It's all really the same vibe, basically, right? It's a universal thing. It's understood. It's kind of like understood, like what God is. It's a good heart. It's a good soul. It's a good mind. It's creation. It's It's empathy, this, that, and the third. It's love. It's not the low ass vibration of fear. I just don't see how fearing God makes sense to me. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I feel like, yeah, God is a good God. God is not a mean, scary motherfucker that's just gonna go out of his way to punish you for things that, like, mistakes that you make, or like things that just don't go all that well. It's like life be lifing. But
yeah, you're saying I've gone to Africa and I've gone to missions. To be honest, that has nothing. If anything, Elijah, you're saying you've gone to African American countries.
People of a different skin color to preach to them.
Yeah.
How am I racist?
You're racist because of the comments you've made.
Which ones?
Are you kidding?
Black friends before you're closer with than white friends?
No, I don't believe you.
And I do business with black people too.
Are you happy having
People that don't like a certain race or culture will still do business with them to benefit, to make a profit. Because in a capitalist society, money comes before everything else.
No, he hasn't even answered my questions. No, all I'm asking for is acknowledgement that something was racist, but you're turning it.
Equally as I talk to white people. I don't
No.
look at a black person.
Oh my God, how did this happen?
This guy is black. Oh my goodness, Elijah's white. I don't look at
We're the issue.
You know what I look
We're
at?
the issue.
Oh my goodness, it's a human being.
No. Well, okay.
They are gaslighting the fuck out of her. Now they look and see human beings. Now they're not racist. They don't see skin color. They have black friends. Oh man, I feel bad for her.
Now you say that, but 2 days ago you were completely fine with shooting a black person.
Angela, you're talking about intruders in
No.
We're not talking about that, Angela.
My whole-
We're talking about a stereotype.
That's the issue. The stereotype is the issue. No.
Stereotype.
The fact.
We're not.
Oh my God.
Stereotypical, though.
You are.
We don't look at black people differently than white people. We look at them as
No,
human beings.
I don't believe you. Your comment, if that's true, why is the N-word in your vocabulary when it offends and hurts? It shouldn't be a joke.
They're saying non-black people saying the N-word doesn't offend black people. It is offensive when non-black people say the N-word. I don't care about any justifications of a word is just a word or free speech, any of that. It's offensive. And yes, there's free speech, but you also can't be mad about how people respond to you saying offensive words.
It's people like you that enslaved an entire group and population and called them the N-word in a demeaning.
Why don't you tell me about this?
The N-word isn't just an F word.
Enslave my Filipinos to do customer support.
No, the N-word is rooted in white supremacy, racism.
Like Black Lives Matter coming to Portland and just
Oh.
destroying all of Portland.
My God.
Pretty much. That's the point. That's how it is.
No, Dad, there's no point. There's no
Black
point.
Lives Matter. Let's destroy all the small businesses.
but not to destruction.
So now they've transitioned the argument into Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, which will forever be a stupid, dumb argument. The reason that people said Black Lives mattered in the first place is because Black lives historically in America were not treated with the same value as everybody else. Therefore, it needed to be called out, but they tried to hijack Black Lives Matter into All Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. This is gaslighting advanced courses now.
We're never going to agree on this matter, but
Why are you like getting away where we're not listening to you? It's like we're not listening at all.
no.
They're using every white supremacist, racist, alt-right, MAGA talking point at this point. To say Black Lives Matter is racist, how? It doesn't say every other. I'm not even going to argue this. I'm not even going to argue that point. They can kiss my ass. Black Lives Matter, period.
You're making it something that's really.
No. To me, this is like.
All lives matter. White lives matter. Black lives matter. The yellows matter. The greens matter. You see the ceiling? It puts a roof over my head. The ceiling matters. This water matters. It goes to my.
Clearly, they don't give a fuck about her. They're literally arguing her down, changing the context of every single argument to justify their points of view without even hearing hers. That's not how you treat somebody that you love and care about, even if you don't really get what they're saying. A family member should still be able to take what a family member is saying and consider it and maybe self-evaluate, but they're not interested in doing any of that. She's not gonna break through to these people at all. You know the meme of the dude talking to the brick wall? This is her. She's talking to a brick wall right now.
And it's the fact that now when his ego is challenged, right? Like whenever you try to explain something to someone and it's making logical sense. You know what I'm saying? And you have to now figure out that something that you said was ignorant, or something that the way that you think is ignorant. Now all of a sudden it's a joke, which is dismissive and basically not trying to admit that you're wrong. You just want to drill in that you're not racist. But at that point, he should have acknowledged that what he said was wrong, and it could come off racist. Like, oh, if I could shoot a white person or a black person, I'd shoot the black person. That isn't the nicest thing to say, or assume that a black person deserves to be shot just because they're black and you think they're stronger and intimidating. Like I said, there's different calibers of different races of people. Like, there's a lot of effeminate black people, or like just softer black people, like male or female, and there's a lot of more masculine black people or white people. Like it have nothing to do with someone's race. So I can see why she's just honestly flat out calling it racism, because it does lean towards motherfucking racism. But he doesn't want to admit that his ego was challenged. She came at him with at least a logical argument at that point. Like, something that you said just isn't right, because you're just assuming who deserves bad treatment based on prejudice. And he doesn't want to admit, oh, that does sound or come off racist. That was just a joke. And that's the same type of things that, you know, gets people to feel like, well, how do I know you're not actually racist? Because you're joking too much, you're laughing too much about something, or like you think this way, or you think something that you're saying is not effective, like, or influential, or just ignorant, basically. It's like, that doesn't mean he's the worst human being walking on earth. Like, he's probably not actually racist. He likes to say things that he feels are not the most racist things to say, but that's not something you should really say out loud and then call a joke when it's challenged. That's how you think, bro, and it's okay to change how you think. If you now know better, or you know differently, it's okay to change your mind. Like, you're not a bad person. If anything, you're actually a better person, because you decide hopefully to not say things like that or think that way anymore, and not feel so fixed on your mentality, or feeling like what you think and what you say is totally okay, because then it just does make you look racist. Like, you're not willing to change how you think or how you act. That's just what you're gonna teach your kids, or what you're gonna teach your legacy, or what you're gonna think for the rest of your life. And who knows, like, what you would do with that mentality. Like,
everything matters. Ain't no problems over here. Pretty much it.
This is the issue.
The issue is everything matters.
This is why we have so much hate in the world. It's people like you guys. No, so guys, moving forward, we're never gonna agree on this, and because of that, I just can't have a relationship. I can't. It would go against, yes, Dad, because I would rather talk it out now instead of them get a ghosting text then. So if this is where we stand, and we can't even have a healthy conversation, please let me finish. Dad.
You think we're racist, and if we disagree, you start crying.
No.
She's literally called out exact things that they've said and done that's racist. They refuse to acknowledge it. They justified it every which way they can. And now they're trying to turn it back on her as if they're the victims by saying she called them racist, and she refuses to accept that they're not racist, even though what they've said and done in this argument have been racist.
Yeah, like, in my opinion, I wouldn't want my white friends saying the N-word or saying it to me, right? Or just seeing white people around me using that word. You know, maybe for like a skit, or like I said, like in a contextual manner, like if you're just using it for educational purposes and stuff, like duh, it's just a word. But it's the way you use the word or how you use it. Basically, it's like if you're too comfortable using the word, it would be like a red flag, basically. Like and yeah, like he said, having black friends doesn't write you off as not racist. Like a lot of people that are friends outside of race aren't actually friends. They just have casual persistent contacts. And sometimes your friends are not always the best or have the best intentions for you. You know, sometimes your friends are just people that you see often. And sometimes you can have a really good, close friend or friends that actually get you and or actually care for you and care about you, and you feel like that's mutual and it's understood. Like you don't have to show up all the time or talk all the time or be around all the time or buy gifts or this or that or the third. Like some people can make it look like they really care about you with the societally accepted normalcy of what's perceived as friendship, and they could actually really not like you. And that's where a lot of horror stories come from, with people that have friends and then one day they're just snaked, or like one day they're just like, you know, harmed or like set up, or like it's easy for friendships to kind of crumble because of disagreements and stuff like that, and then all this type of shit. So it's like you gotta pick your friends wisely, first of all, which is why I really don't be having that many friends. And not because I think I'm just this person that don't need friends and stuff, but I'm just super cautious and picky about them type of words like love or friend or like this and that, because you gotta make sure that your friends have the same views as you and good intentions for you. And then like, you know, I really would rather be lonely than just have friends just for the fuck of it, like, or eventually start feeling like, oh, they're not actually my friend, like they're just like, you know what I'm saying? He also said, yes, it's a lot of black people that are anti-black as well. Like a lot of people are kind of colonized in their head, like that coon mentality where it's like darker skin is this, lighter skin is that. Some black people are exceptional, and other black people that act too black or are too black or just they're not your cup of tea. They just don't deserve like the equal representation that someone less black gets. It's like all that is ignorance, and there's a lot of white on white crime and discrimination too, and just like in the white community for other white people. It's like, especially if they're racist, but there's a lot of people that treat lower class white people as trailer trash, or like they're trying to be black because maybe they just like or so happen to like black people or like fucking care about people. But people just need to stop. It's just so embarrassing watching like arguments about who can do what, who can say what, who can wear what, who can be what. I mean, yeah, there's definitely people that culturally appropriate, like, you know what I'm saying? They just kind of rip things from a culture and they just assume that it's okay or better when they do it. Or like it's bullshit. It's just bullshit in the world. It's like, I'm not someone that's gonna say, oh, white people can't wear box braids. Granted, that's a whole different topic. That shit is not good for anybody's hair, for real. But I wouldn't go out of my way to wear no fucking synthetic hair if I was white, because that shit gonna rip your hair out. But that's just another topic. I'm not somebody that's gonna tell somebody what to do with their hair. Like white people, I feel like they can get locks as long as they just fucking understand what the that shit really is, and they actually just appreciate it and don't just like just do it just to look or feel black. Like it is actually like locks, and you know, they don't call it like dreads, you know, like I don't know. I have all these little smaller discussions on the side that I could add, but I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. So I feel like black people, they straighten their hair sometimes. They wear European or Asian hair sometimes. They wear Brazilian hair that's pinned straight, and they get to wear that type of stuff. So I'm not gonna tell white people what they can do with their hair. If they get a damn perm, if they crisp their hair off, if they do this or that, you know, if they wear this or that and they use AAVE and all this shit. It's like, I guess, as you know, as long as you're just acknowledging what something's really called or what something really is, and you just respect that origin of a lot of things that people do. I'm not going to tell somebody what to do with their life. I'm not going to say, oh, they look stupid, or oh, this looks stupid, because that would just be hypocrisy. And then it would just be like an argument about what happened in history versus just letting the present be the present and people just do what the fuck they want. Now, also, like, opinions about what looks like what and what is like what and what suits who and whatever, that's literally up to the person or the whatever the fuck they're doing with their life. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, black people do this and listen to that, and then they just think that they're this and this, and then white people, if they just hang around black people, they just think they're this and that. It's like, I'm not gonna say none of that. I just feel like people should just be allowed to be who they are, and if they kind of grew up in a certain environment or in a certain way, and they just, you know, people are sponges, they absorb what they're around, and that doesn't mean they're trying to be something they're not, you know. It's just people want to fit in, or like they just want to do what the fuck they want. It's a fucking free country. But do I excuse like racism or feeling like you do something better than the next person just because you're black or white? No. And then I remember they said that she's playing the victim, and that could be said about black people that bring their concerns maybe to the internet or to like real life events or issues, you know. Like if they bring up a concern or a trauma or like something that they feel like needs to change in the way people view black people or white people or anything, basically, it's like being passionate about a certain topic would make you seem like you're playing victim or just making problems out of nothing. And imagine how the world would be if people just never said something or like did something about the way life used to be. And I mean, there's a way to go about things. Like, you shouldn't come at people super emotionally, because they're just gonna use your emotions against you, to be honest. And then you're not gonna come off like what you're saying is accurate or makes actual sense. They're just gonna say that you're playing victim or you're too emotional. And she is using mad logical like points, but she's delivering it in a way that would excuse or justify her family kind of looking at her like she's just crying about it and not speaking on it. Like, I personally don't talk to anybody I feel like is just racist, even if they don't like white people or black people that don't like black people. I don't talk to people like that. Or I don't talk to people that think people need to learn English in a heartbeat because they're in America. I don't talk to people that feel like any of that shit. I don't like people like that because, or unless someone comes at you really fucked up, you know what I'm saying, and you just defend yourself, that's one thing. But to think that way, period, is a problem, in my opinion. I don't like racist people. I don't feel like we should hold history over people's heads, people that we don't know. And I don't feel like you should just assume that black people are a certain way because of history or whatever you think you know or see. And I don't think we should just assume white people are just a way, just based off history and just what you think you know and see. I just don't think that's okay to carry on and on and on. It's like, that would be us or you being the problem if you carry it on and on and on. It's like nobody's putting the brakes on it. people are just like dragging it and recycling the BS, like, then it wouldn't be history no more. It's literally life. And I just don't feel like it's necessary to get to retaliate nonstop and then just switch roles, like who's right and who's wrong all the time. I'm like, everybody can be right and wrong in their own right. You know, I feel like we should believe what we want to believe, but just don't harm anyone and carry out hateful crimes off of some ignorance. And even if you have emotional trauma in your family or your bloodline, or you're directly affected by racism or like prejudice or stereotypical things, that's not your job to retaliate or take it in your hands. I feel like that's God's job. And then, you know, there's still good people in the world. Like this, it's not all grim and the world's not all bad, right? I mean, it's really hard to find people like that. Sometimes if you're in a really bad area or you're in really bad situations and stuff like that, I just feel like it's literally someone's personal responsibility to kind of surround themselves or fill their algorithms with things and people that think like how they think. And if you want to change how you think, you actively put in work to do that and put yourself in places and spaces where you feel like that's happening as well. Like just being a better human. And like would it probably be lonely? A little bit. But it wouldn't mean it wouldn't be for nothing. Like it wouldn't be like impossible for the world to actually be like chill. It just would take forever. And then it would take people actually listening to what people have to say and how people feel, and not feel so damn ignorant like the guys in that video, like her brothers or her family, whatever. It would take people like that to actually listen and actually look in the mirror and actually try to put themselves in somebody else's shoes. Like not just their friends that let them say the N-word, and just their friends that let them be trolls and let them feel how they want to feel, because maybe those black people are not in such negative areas, clearly, or places where they're literally absolutely treated poorly or looked at poorly just because of their race and stuff like that. I think they should think about how there's many people on the planet, and not just America, and not just white people, not just black people, not just, you know, not just one type of those types of people. It's like all types of things that we don't see all that often. And I'm not saying dwell on people in places and things that have less than you. Like, right, do what you can. And then I think if everyone did that, eventually shit would be like sweet or like better. And then nobody's getting accused of being racist, and nobody's being racist, and nobody's feeling like someone they know or someone they love is racist. It would just be like possible for like that shit to really just die. Like, to be honest, it would be possible for people to like feel safe around people that's not their race, and not feel intimidated whether they're black and strong or black and scary or white and fucking evil or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's just the fact that the dudes are not taking accountability, or at least expressing that they're wrong in maybe some of the ways they think. They just want to be right, or they just want to feel like how they think is just, it's okay, it's what it is. Like, a lot of people around me think this way, or mom and dad think this way, or like people say things like this. It's fine, it's just a joke. And it's like, that's the type of shit that keeps things normal. Like, it keeps things the same way if nobody tries to like change how they think, or like change, bruh. Like that goes for black people too, because like they said earlier on, honestly, people really shouldn't be using that word. Like I try to say ninja a lot now because I just honestly don't really like the way the N-word really feels. It's like, it's cool sometimes, I guess, because it's normalized to be cool now. But then, if we just totally dismiss history, that's just inviting ignorance. It's inviting a lack of education, and then like allowing certain shit to happen and kind of not be looked at or discussed or just forgotten. And then people end up hurt, or people end up offended, or people end up fearful because people don't actually understand what they're saying or doing, and how it's affecting them, their own life and other people's lives. Like it's okay to take accountability and be wrong sometimes. That doesn't mean you're a bad person if you just say something that's not so great or agreeable with your sister or black people or other white people. It's just take the moment to like look at what you're thinking and what you're saying, and then acknowledge why you think that way and feel that way, and why it's okay, why you really think it's okay. Because if you just say, oh, I just grew up in this nice life and I never had to deal with racism or being actually racist, but you never been to the trenches or the hood where there ain't no jobs hiring, there isn't like real classism for real, it's all the same gray life. Like that's not something that most people want to look at or focus on because it have nothing to do with them, but that's life for some people. Like, and then even in third world countries, it's like life is not just the white picket fence in America. Like it's beyond all that. Like even in America, there's really the places and things that are going on, and it's fresh under the rug because we so focused on what looks. We just so focused on ourselves and or our own life, or like the type of life that you want to live, and kind of just this flashy picture that makes everything seem okay, and that have nothing to do with race. That's just people want to live out their dreams or live out this stoic, chill life. But the reality is like life has light and dark in it. So maybe your intention is not to be dark or fucked up, but there's places and people that what you say and do can affect. And it's not your responsibility to cater to people's feelings and how they feel or what they think. That's just a person-to-person thing. That's just an opinion, and people shouldn't feel like how they think is going to get them targeted or harmed. Like, I don't think he's racist. I don't think he deserves to die. I don't think he's like this animal or asshole. I think he's just ignorant, and like whatever you say, you know, in a free country will come with what somebody else has to say in a free country. It would be like you gotta protect yourself and protect your feelings, yes, but then try to think about other people too, so that you know you don't come off as somebody you're not. Because I think that's probably his argument is, I'm not racist, but well then act like it.